We voted, you're out of the reunion, my father smirked. Then don't expect my $7,000 to cover your Italy trip next month, I said as I blocked his card. Hey, take a seat, my sister said with a grin already on her face. We need to chat. I hadn't even shrugged off my coat when I walked into my parents' living room. The family group chat had called for a meeting at 6, but nobody bothered to tell me why. There I was, standing awkwardly in the middle of the room, clutching the gift basket I'd brought along. My mom offered a tight smile from the armchair, while Dad was lounging on the couch, sipping wine like he didn't have a care in the world. My brother was nearby, pretending to be glued to his phone. What's this about? I asked slowly, already sensing something was off. Did someone die? No, Dad replied, dramatically putting his wine down. We had a vote about the reunion. What vote? I asked, confused. You're out, he said flatly. We decided it's best if you don't come to Tuscany with us next month. Silence took over the room. I blinked. You're joking. Nope, my sister said, practically beaming. We think it's best for the group dynamic. I scoffed. Group dynamic? You're always so tense, she continued. You make things stressful. Remember last year when you argued with the waiter about the service charge? You embarrassed Mom. I snapped back. I was the only one who noticed they added an extra $80 to the bill. You're welcome, by the way. We just want peace this year, Mom added softly, not meeting my eyes. I looked at them. These are the people I booked flights for. The same ones who asked me to cover the villa deposit because Dad's bonus hadn't come through yet. That was $7,000 on my card the day they sent thank you emojis. Let me get this straight, I said slowly. You're kicking me out of the trip I planned and paid for? You offered, Dad shrugged. I didn't offer to be excluded from it, I retorted. Well, my sister said, crossing her legs like she was the judge in some courtroom, you've been really uptight lately. All your little boundaries and budgets. You've changed. I let out a bitter laugh. Yeah, I started saying no. She ignored me. This is supposed to be fun, and you ruin the vibe. Ruin the vibe? I echoed. You mean I stopped you from charging €18 spritzes on my card all day? You're overreacting, Mom cut in. Don't make this ugly. Oh, I won't. I pulled out my phone and blocked access to the travel account linked to our trip. Dad's phone buzzed on the coffee table. What was that? He muttered, picking it up. That was me blocking the card I used to book your tickets and that fancy villa in Tuscany, with the pool you just had to have. You know, the one you haven't paid me back for. You can't do that. My sister snapped, standing up. Oh, can't I? What are you all going to do now? My brother finally spoke, looking shocked. The trip is in 3 weeks. Figure it out, I said. Remember, you're so chill. Manifest the money. You're acting like a child, Mom snapped. I looked straight at her. No, Mom. I've stopped acting like your ATM. Dad stood up, fuming. You're being spiteful. No, I said, grabbing my keys. I'm done. And with that, I walked out, leaving them stunned in their designer chairs, wine glasses trembling, and their Tuscany dreams unpaid for. They didn't just betray me, they planned it together. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling as my phone buzzed with messages. My sister sent me 3 laughing emojis. I didn't reply. Around midnight, a text from my mom came through. Don't let this ruin everything. We still love you, you just made the trip difficult. Difficult? I paid for everything, the flights, the 5-star villa with the pool, and all the tours because they begged me to. And now I'm the problem? The next morning, my cousin Maya called. We hadn't talked much since my sister always made snide comments about her not fitting in. Hey, she said. I heard what happened. You okay? How did you hear? I asked, puzzled. There was a pause. They posted about it, she said. Posted where? Instagram. Jenny said you had a breakdown and canceled the trip because you were jealous. I felt my blood run cold. What? She'd posted a boomerang of wine glasses clinking with the caption, when the toxic one finally takes themselves out #reunion prep #narcissist free. I was speechless. My family had voted me out of a trip I paid for, lied about it, and were now mocking me online. That's when I realized something much deeper was going on. You know, Maya continued, this isn't new. She's been saying stuff about you for months. Like, nasty stuff. Like what? She told people you were having money issues, that you begged to be included in the reunion, and that you threatened to cancel it if people didn't praise you more. I stood up, feeling dizzy. She said what? Maya sounded awkward. She's been planning it everywhere. I think she's trying to isolate you. I hung up without saying goodbye. That same hour, I checked my email. My flight itinerary was still there, the one I booked for everyone. I opened it with trembling hands. Guess whose seat was upgraded to business class? My sister's. So there I was, minding my own business, when I decided to check out my bank statement on my phone. Almost dropped it when I saw this $1,500 charge from 2 days ago. Yeah, she did it again, used my card without asking while we were in the middle of a spat about, well, everything. That was it for me. I called up the airline, doing my best not to let my anger seep through, and said, "Hey, I'd like to cancel all 4 tickets under my last name." The lady on the other end hesitated, probably surprised, but I was dead serious, especially about canceling the one in seat 3A. Later that day, I headed over to my parents' place, not to have another fight, but to see the look on their faces. Mom opened the door, and her smile disappeared quickly when she realized it was me. "Oh, it's you," she said, and I just laughed and walked in. "You shouldn't be surprised," I told her. "You've put enough of our business online to get everyone's attention." She didn't even bother denying it. I stormed into the living room where my dad was hanging out, reading the newspaper like it was still 1985, and my sister Jenny was glued to her laptop. I hit her with, "You're gonna need a new card." She looked up, confused. "The travel card's blocked." "Flights? Cancelled. That villa in Tuscany? Already rebooked by someone else." She was furious. "You wouldn't dare," she snapped. "Oh, I did," I laughed. "You messed up the trip when you decided to cut me out of it." My dad chimed in, trying to calm things down, but I wasn't having it. "You all turned your backs on me, used my money, and let her spread lies about me. This isn't rash, it's justice." Jenny was fuming and stood up, trying to defend herself, but I wasn't done. I pulled out her bank statement and tossed it on the table. "Recognize this?" I said. "Been tracking everything, spa visits, designer bags, and even a fancy yacht in Positano. Guess you had a side trip planned, huh?" Mom tried to get everyone to take a deep breath, but I was done being the bad guy. "You called me difficult for asking where the money was going, meanwhile she's living like a queen on my dime." Jenny lunged for the statement, yelling that I'd gone too far. But I just said, "Nope, I'm free now." She froze, confused. "What do you mean?" So I told her, "I called the bank, reported the fraud. They're investigating everything. Your fund's over." She was livid, screaming at me to get lost, saying I wasn't part of the family anymore. I just shrugged, thinking, finally, something we can agree on. As I left, I dropped one last bomb. "Good luck explaining to everyone why you won't be in Italy and why you might get a call from the cops." They thought they could embarrass me quietly, but I wasn't going out like that. I made sure it was loud, public, and unforgettable. A week after canceling their dream trip, I got a letter, not an email or a text, but an actual letter from a lawyer. Thought it was a joke at first, but nope, it was real. My own parents and sister had lawyered up, threatening to sue me for pulling the plug on them financially. Imagine that. I didn't even bother to reply. Instead, I made a plan. Saturday night, family dinner. My dad opened the door, looked like he'd seen a ghost. "What are you doing here?" he barked. I just smiled back, "Come on, you invited me, didn't you? After all, we have this lawyer business to talk over." Inside, everyone was sitting around the table, Mom, Jenny, her boyfriend, my brother Liam, and a couple of nosy aunts who love some juicy family drama. Perfect. I set my tablet on the coffee table and switched on the projector. Jenny gave me an eye roll. "What's this supposed to be? Some kind of stunt?" she sneered. "Oh, just a little slideshow," I chuckled. "I thought we should all get on the same page before you drag me to court." I hit play. First up, a screenshot of Jenny upgrading her flight to business class on my card. Then, a hotel receipt with my name but her signature. $800 for a luxury suite. Next was video footage of her checking into a hotel with her boyfriend, laughing and tapping my card. The room went silent. My mom broke the ice, her voice slow and stunned. "What is this?" Jenny jumped up, grabbing the tablet, but I had backups. "This is a setup," she yelled. "You're twisting everything." I just looked at her. "Funny how this setup matches your spending habits perfectly, right down to those spa appointments and dinner dates." She tried to justify her actions, saying she was stressed and I had promised to help. I stepped in closer. "I did help. I paid. But you took advantage." My dad slammed his hand on the table, trying to regain control. "You're tearing this family apart," he shouted. I locked eyes with him, calm and steady. "You all did that when you decided to cut me out and then tried to sue me for your mistakes. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. And hit the notification bell to stay updated with more crazy real-life stories happening around you." So, for months I've been saying I'm done being your personal ATM. Then Jenny, with her snarky attitude, goes, "You're pathetic." I just smirked and pulled out a letter from my bank's fraud department, letting her know they're investigating some shady charges under her name. Liam, who had been just listening quietly, finally leaned in and asked if I really did all that. I nodded and explained that I gave Jenny a week to pay me back, but instead, she filled her time posting silly memes. Liam was like, "Seriously?" Jenny then turned to him, accusing him of taking my side. He kept silent. So I called Jenny out on booking a yacht under my name in Patano and also for sending a laughing emoji when I got uninvited from the reunion. She acted like I was the villain for confronting her. "We're family," my mom tried to say, but I shot back, "No, we're just users and givers, and I'm done playing the giver." Jenny made a move like she was going to slap me, but I just stood firm. I told her she'd regret it once everyone learned she was treating me like a human wallet while mocking me behind my back. Everyone in the room froze, the tension was real. Suddenly, Liam stood up too, saying he's done with all the lies and gaslighting. He turned to me and said I did the right thing. He snapped back at our mom, telling her to stop trying to defend Jenny's actions. Jenny tried pulling the jealousy card on Liam, but he quickly shut her down with a comment about how he didn't steal yachts. I grabbed my coat and delivered the final blow. I was canceling all the stuff I paid for, the phone plan, Netflix, the car insurance. If they wanted trips to Tuscany, they'd have to earn it themselves because this ATM was officially closed. I walked out, and this time, I didn't look back. They probably thought I'd crumble, but it was them who fell apart. That night, I couldn't sleep, not from anxiety, but from this newfound feeling of being alive. For once, I wasn't the one apologizing. I stood up and didn't back down. The next morning, everything was silent, no guilt trips, no dramatic calls, just peace. I made coffee, danced around my apartment, enjoying the quiet after the storm. By 3:42 p.m., the silence broke, a message from Liam saying our mom was crying, Jenny was locked in her room, and Dad thought I destroyed the family. I laughed it off, reminding Liam that I was the one keeping this family afloat for the past 6 years. Liam just replied, "Yep." The next day, my inbox blew up, not from immediate family, but from extended relatives who saw Jenny's now deleted Instagram rants regarding the lawyer letters and fraud claims. Everyone was mad at Jenny. I received a flood of supportive messages, one even from Aunt Clara, who had a falling out with my mom ages ago. She told me she was proud that I stood up to Jenny, a tear even hit my keyboard as I read her words. On day 3, while I was at the gym, Liam called to say Jenny had a colossal meltdown, screaming at Mom and Dad and blaming me for her problems since the extended family now knew about her antics. Apparently, she'd also lost Brian, the dentist she was stringing along, after he found out about the fraud. I had to sit down because I was laughing so hard. Liam also mentioned something about Grandma's will, saying she left the house to me because I was the only one who didn't treat her like a vending machine. I was stunned, I didn't even know. Finally, on day 5, Dad showed up at my door. I looked through the peephole and almost laughed. There he was, standing stiffly like he was about to deliver a speech or something. I made him be there. I opened the door but didn't let him in. "Can I come in?" he asked. "No," I replied bluntly. He winced, then tried to smile. "I just wanted to talk." I leaned against the doorframe. "Now you want to talk?" I said. He rubbed his neck. "Look, your mom's not doing well. She hasn't eaten much since that dinner, and Jenny, Dad," I cut him off, "if you're here to make me feel guilty, just leave. I'm done being the family scapegoat." He blinked. "That's not fair." "No," I snapped, "what's not fair is you letting Jenny walk all over me, taking my stuff, lying to everyone, and you treated her like she was royalty. She might be your daughter, but I was your son. I paid for your vacations, covered bills when you said money was tight, and all I got was side eyes and silence." He fell quiet. I didn't come to argue. I just wanted to say we were wrong, all of us. I looked at him. "You let them erase me," I said. "Now that the money's gone and Jenny's been found out, you remember me." He didn't answer, but before leaving, he quietly asked, "Is there any chance we can fix this?" I didn't hesitate. "No," and I shut the door. Next Sunday, I woke up late, brewed strong coffee, and opened my laptop. I wasn't thinking about Italy, Iceland came to mind. A solo trip, my way, no guilt, no expectations, just me and the sky in silence. I booked it and saw a message from Jenny, not a rant, just "I hope you're happy." I looked at it for a while, then replied, it wasn't about winning, it was about stopping the game. Then I blocked her. Weeks later, I moved to a new apartment, bigger, brighter, and most importantly, mine. I changed my number, closed shared accounts, got a new credit card, and set boundaries with everyone, even Liam. And you know what? I don't miss them, not the drama, not the constant narrative where I'm the bad guy for saying no while they thrived on my silence. I've got real peace now, and whenever I feel like calling or explaining or going back, I ask myself, would you set yourself on fire to keep them warm? Always, the answer is no. They wanted to break me, but I broke the cycle. I used to think being good meant always saying yes, yes to paying, yes to forgiving, yes to being the quiet one. But I was never the good one in their eyes, just the useful one, and when I stopped being useful, I became the enemy. This realization hit me hard one morning, 2 months after that dinner. I was hiking alone by the ocean, feeling the wind whip through my jacket. My phone buzzed, voicemail from Mom, "We miss you. Jenny's in therapy. Your dad barely talks. Can't we go back to how it was?" I laughed out loud. Back to what? I thought. Back to being their silent sponsor, back to being erased? No, never again. A week later, Jenny sent a handwritten letter. She didn't ask for forgiveness, just said she'd lost everything, Brian, her job, friends. There was a $7,000 check enclosed. I didn't need it. I'd rebuilt more than they'd ever taken. It symbolized something bigger, accountability. I mailed it back with a note, "You can't buy peace with money." I learned that the hard way. Then, weeks later, out of nowhere, I was in a bookstore flipping through a novel when a woman approached me. "Is your name Walker?" she asked. "I think you helped my sister once, with rent," she said. "Your family turned on you." I blinked. "Yeah. She told me about you," the woman said. "You showed me what boundaries look like." She smiled, then left. I stood there, heart racing. A stranger, someone I didn't even remember helping, and my story had reached her. My strength echoed, not in drama or headlines, but in quiet transformation. Here's the truth I wish I'd known earlier: you don't owe anyone your destruction, not for love, not for loyalty, not even for family. Family isn't who you're born with, it's who respects you when you say enough. I said it, I meant it, and I never looked back. I'm not their ATM, not their scapegoat, not their safety net. I am free, and I will never pay for my own silence again.